Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we are talking about the latest, the long dark hotfix, the one that lands as 254. And honestly, this is the kind of update that does not just tweak a few numbers and call it a day. This one is aimed straight at the stuff that can wreck a run, break a story moment, or make the whole experience feel rough around the edges. Hinterland pushed this out as an episode 5 hotfix, and the whole point was to clean up bugs that showed up after that release, with the update rolling across Steam first, and then other major platforms shortly after. The biggest thing here is the crash and stability work, because that is the kind of fix every player feels immediately. There are now fixes for a crash that could happen right after finding the missing bodies in the To Those Who Are Missing mission. Another one that could happen if you open the journal after loading the autosave created when Dr. Atwood explains the origins of Wintermute, and even a nasty crash tied to landing a near miss on a charging cougar. There is also a fix for a possible hang when leaving the constable's office in Perseverance Mills, which sounds like the sort of issue that can stop a session dead in its tracks. Those kinds of changes might not sound dramatic at first, but for a story mode game, they are huge because they protect the flow of the entire experience. A lot of the rest of the update is about stopping players from getting lost in the wrong place, skipping ahead too early, or getting locked into weird progression states. In Blackrock Foothills, for example, the update closes off an early skip to the cable car section, fixes a sudden death issue during that sequence, if you held forward during the cinematic where Mackenzie gets shot, and restores missing captions for the convicts in both the build-up and the cable car scene itself. The mission icon for the cable cars is also corrected, so it does not stay marked as the active objective after that section is over. That same kind of cleanup shows up all over the place, from cargo ship to Suzuki Station to conflagration, and the theme is pretty clear. Make the story behave the way it is supposed to, and stop players from stumbling into soft locks or sequence breaks that were never meant to happen. The cargo ship mission got a nice usability pass too. The ice maze now has visual breadcrumbs to help point you in the right direction, which is a smart fix because anything maze-like in a survival game can turn into a frustration zone fast. There are also fixes for the locker key description, a deceptive safe path in Desperation Bay that could dump the player into freezing water, and some out-of-bounds behavior that could let players move around the ship earlier than intended, or even make the terrain vanish in a specific spot. So this part of the patch is really about making the environment behave more honestly, which helps the whole mission feel more readable and less like the game is trying to trick you. The mine mission gets a long list of fixes, and that alone tells you how much was being cleaned up under the hood. The update fixes the crank lamp not working properly with the light source shortcut, stops weird duplicate item spawns, corrects missing captions, prevents Jace from falling under the world during a tremor, and fixes mission objectives not updating properly after leaving the mine and reaching the Suzuki radio telescope. There are also a couple of nasty softlock risks removed, including one involving the blast door and another involving the crane being interactable again after saving and loading. In the same stretch of the story, Suzuki Station gets serious attention too, with fixes for the checkpoint, save loading the player into a locked control room, missing geometry in the radio telescope interior, a wheel interaction that could trap the player, and a sleep sequence that failed to restore Mackenzie properly. That is the kind of work that keeps the story moving, instead of letting one bad save or one awkward interaction ruin everything. There are also a bunch of quality of life improvements spread across the update that make the game feel more polished moment to moment. The train sections now show useful contextual information when you press tab, including objective, time of day, and train-related HUD details. The map and journal get several fixes too, like corrected icons, better objective markers, proper episode art, and cleaner information displays. On top of that, there are fixes for stray debug text in save and load menus, better handling for the last played episode when launching Wintermute, better control behavior, improved captioning for dialogue, and even a fix for the map telling you that you have no maps when you try to use it in the cold, broken road. That last one is a great example of a fix that sounds tiny, but makes the game feel much clearer in the moment. The world itself also got a big round of polish. Hinterland mentions hundreds of environment art fixes, along with a long list of traversal and collision improvements across Perseverance Wilds, Desperation Bay, the SAR Station, the Lighthouse, the Suzuki Radio Telescope, the cargo ship, and more. Stuff like floating items, missing collision, flickering textures, bad LOD behavior, terrain traps, and awkward snag points are all being cleaned up. Performance was improved too, especially in places like the cargo ship, the abandoned mine, geothermal, and buildings in Perseverance Mills when they are on fire. That means smoother movement, fewer hiccups, and a game world that should feel more stable when you are exploring or trying to survive. And then there is the animation and audio side, which is easy to overlook until something feels off. This update fixes over 100 cinematic and cutscene issues, including clipping, lighting problems, object intersections, and transitions. It also smooths out hand animations, plank handling, effort taps, NPC motion, and a few awkward moments where the game could have made characters look strangely disconnected from the world. On the sound side, there are fixes for footsteps playing the wrong material, voice lines triggering at the wrong time, missing dialogue, looping effects during effort taps, and even a cougar growl that could play when returning to the main menu. All of that adds up to a version of the story that should feel much more coherent, cleaner, and far less distracting. So overall, this hotfix is less about adding new content and more about protecting the experience that is already there. It clears out crashes, repairs progression blockers, improves mission readability, tightens up performance, and smooths out the rough edges across visuals, audio, and animation. For anyone who has been waiting to continue Episode 5, this is the kind of patch that makes the game feel safer to play and a lot less likely to throw a wrench into your progress.